All right. So in today's session, we'll talk about SQL joins. And joins is the single most important concept in structured query language. And this is where you get the most interview questions from. This is the topic that is most asked in interviews as well. So starting with what a join is basically. So you can join two or more tables in SQL, and this join is based on column values. So let's say you have two tables and there's a common column. For example, in one table you have the ID of the student, name of the student, and all the marks of the student. And in another table you have the ID of the student, uh, and only the address, the date of birth, gender, like all the specific details, right, of the person, of the student. So in one table you have the ID and the marks and the name, and in the second table you have the address, date of birth, gender, right, the personal information, but not the name. So essentially, the only common column in these two tables is ID, right? And in a similar scenario, only name can be a common column. So we can have a lot of these examples, but in this case, the ID is the only common column. So what we want to do is we want to get a table that joins both of them and has all the columns of both tables, right? So I'll join table one. So I'll do select star, which selects all the columns in both tables, and I'll select star from table one, and I'll join that on table 2, which means that I'm selecting all the columns from table 1, and on that I'm joining table 2, right? And this join is based on, so this on means that what is the common column using which I'm joining both the tables, right? So on table 1 dot column 1 equal to table 2 dot column 1. And this column 1 in both tables is the ID basically in my example. So this joins table 1 and table 2 values for every row where value of column 1 equals value of column 2. Right? This is essentially what joins is. I've covered all the other things, these keywords, subqueries, we've covered all of this already. So the only topic that was left in SQL, and the most important one as well, was joins. Now I'll walk you through the types of joins that are there. The most common question that is asked is, what are the four types of joins, right? And let's understand what those four types are, right? So this is the list of the topics that we've already, most of them we've studied already. And these are the four types of joins. First one is inner join. Let's understand this using set notation, right? So let's say if I talk about if I talk about the inner join, it means that it is the intersection, right? Let's say I have two sets A and B. This one is the intersection of both sets. All right. Second one is Second one is the full join, which is basically A union B. Right? It includes all the elements in both tables. Third one is left join. This is basically this just gives you the common elements and the elements of the left table, right? And the final one is basically right join, which gives the entire right table and of course the common values as well. So let's say in the ID example that I gave you, right, student IDs, what we have is we'll have only the second table, which gives the personal information of the students. And in case of the left join, we'll have only the student database, which has all the marks of the students. That is left join. And in the full join, we'll have all the students in both tables, right? A union of that. And in the inner join, we'll just have the common columns, which in this case is just the ID column. I hope you've understood these types of joins. It's very simple. I've tried to explain it using set notation. You can understand even without the set notation. That's perfectly fine. There are more types of joins as well. These are not as important as these four types, but there's also the self join, which basically joins one table onto itself. Then we have the right join, full join, inner join. We've already studied this, and the left join. There is another type of join which is called the cross join. What this does is this gives the Cartesian product of the elements in both sets, right? So the Cartesian product of the elements in these sets, that is cross join. Let's say so A cross B, that is that would give me the elements of cross join. All right. So these are the types of joins, and there are also other types of joins. For example, union simply puts one table on top of another, right? That is union.